The strange thing about loss is that it terrifies us most when we've forgotten something obvious. We never actually owned the thing to begin with. Think about the last time you were afraid of losing something: a relationship, a job, your reputation, maybe even your youth. Notice the language your mind used in that moment. It didn't say, "This might change." It said, "This is mine, and it's being taken from me." That single shift in language is where almost all suffering around loss begins. Because here's what nobody tells you growing up: you don't own your health. You're borrowing a body that will change on its own timeline, with or without your permission. You don't own your money. It moves through your hands the way weather moves through a valley, present for a while, then gone, then back again in a different form. You don't even own the people you love. You get time with them. That's it. That's the entire arrangement. This isn't meant to sound bleak. It's meant to sound honest. And honesty, once it settles in, tends to feel a lot lighter than the fear it replaces. There's an old idea from Stoic philosophy that captures this better than most modern self-help ever has. The philosopher Epictetus used to compare life to a stay at an inn. You check in, you enjoy the room, you rest, you eat, maybe you even grow attached to the view from the window. But at some point, you knew from the start you would have to check out. The room was never yours. You were only ever passing through it. Most people live as if they've signed a permanent lease on everything they have. Their job, their looks, their circle of friends, their current version of their life. So when change comes, and change always comes, it doesn't feel like a natural part of living. It feels like theft. Watch how this plays out in ordinary situations. A person stays in a relationship long after it's stopped being good for them, not because they still want it, but because the idea of losing it feels unbearable. A business owner refuses to pivot even as the market shifts beneath them, because admitting the old model is dying feels like admitting defeat. A parent grips their child's independence a little too tightly, because letting go feels like losing them, when really growth was the entire point all along. In every one of these cases, the pain isn't coming from the loss itself. It's coming from the illusion that it was never supposed to happen. Here's something worth sitting with. Nothing that has ever been taken from you was ever truly yours to keep. Not because you didn't deserve it, but because nothing in this life comes with a permanent claim attached. Everything you hold, your health, your money, your relationships, your title at work, even your own opinions about who you are, is on loan. Some loans last decades, some last minutes. None of them come with a guarantee. And once you actually accept that, something interesting happens. You don't stop caring about things. You start caring about them differently. There's a version of loving something fully that doesn't require gripping it out of fear. Think about how differently you'd treat a rented car versus one you were told you'd have to give back tomorrow. You wouldn't drive it recklessly just because it's temporary. If anything, you'd probably enjoy it more, because you're not busy calculating how devastated you'll be when it's gone. You're just present with it while it's here. That's the shift. Fear of loss usually comes from trying to make something permanent that was only ever meant to be present. And the moment you stop demanding permanence from things that were never built to offer it, the fear starts to lose its grip. This doesn't mean you become detached or numb. It means you stop confusing ownership with experience. You can love a person completely without owning their future decisions. You can build a career you're proud of without believing it defines your worth. You can enjoy money without letting its presence or absence dictate your sense of peace. Consider something most people never think about. The version of you sitting here right now watching this isn't even something you get to keep. In 10 years, your body will have replaced nearly every cell it currently has. Your opinions will have shifted. Your priorities will look different. You're not just losing external things over time. You're constantly losing and becoming new versions of yourself. And somehow, that's not something people mourn. It's something people call growth. So why does losing a job feel like the end of the world, but growing out of an old belief doesn't? Why does losing a friendship feel like a tragedy, but growing out of an old personality doesn't? The answer is simple. We've been taught to attach identity to the wrong things. We attach it to possessions and outcomes instead of attaching it to the way we choose to move through change. Here's something practical you can actually use. The next time you feel the fear of losing something creeping in, ask yourself one question. Am I afraid of losing this thing, or am I afraid of what its absence says about who I am? Almost every time, it's the second one. People aren't afraid of losing the relationship. They're afraid of what it means about their worth if it ends. People aren't afraid of losing the job. They're afraid of what it means about their competence if they're let go. Once you separate the loss from the identity attached to it, the fear becomes manageable, because losing something you value is simply part of being alive. But losing your sense of self every time something changes, that's optional. That's a habit. And habits can be unlearned. There's a kind of quiet strength in living like a guest instead of an owner. Guests don't panic when the visit ends. They appreciated it while it lasted, and they walk away with the memory, not the wreckage. You were never promised permanence. Nobody was. Not the people who seem to have it all, and not the people who feel like they have nothing. The only real difference between the two is how tightly they were gripping something that was always going to change. So the next time you feel yourself afraid of losing something, pause for a moment and ask what you were really holding on to, because you were never holding on to the thing itself. You were holding on to the illusion that it was yours to lose in the first place.